first, I want to go back and redo quickly our prediction for the Canadian election, which is coming up next weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And can I take what I said back? I've been watching the Conservatives in Canada speaking and the way they're engaging. I think they're going to lose now.
Hmm.
I think they're going to
Interesting.
lose. Now, apparently, the last couple of days, they've had debates, and they have gone in favor of the conservatives via most pundits. Most analysts say the conservatives won the debates. However, I just get a feel, basically based on what we were talking about, the repudiation of Trump. I think that he's basically going to spur a victory for the Liberal Party in
Hmm.
Canada, the you know
Hmm.
so-called Trudeau wing that once was with Mark Carney. I just want to say that before we get started. All
That's
right, so
interesting.
here's your
Yeah.
first question. We spoke about him already in the show, Jerome Powell. Do you think Jerome Powell will resign or be fired before May of this year?
No, I don't. I think that, as you were saying, it'll be very difficult to get rid of him because that's a position that is appointed by the president, as you mentioned. But I guess it'll depend on what kind of political pressure is put upon him.
Mhm.
But I don't. I see him as a guy who sees himself as trying to keep the union together.
Your answer is no.
My answer is no.
I see it, and I agree with you. I think this is going to be a little bit like a heavyweight boxing match
Mm-hmm.
that's going to play out. And I think Powell will be backed by some hmm, people who will insist that he stays. And again, I think it's just going to be a loud affair in the press over the next few months, and I don't think the markets are going to like it. All right, Scott. The second thing that I would like to get in here after Mr. Powell is coffee Arabica. The price of your favorite brew is getting more expensive. Okay. It is at $378 right now, essentially. Okay. During the long holiday weekend. Now, let me point out the price of coffee has more than doubled over the last year and a half. At one point, last in, I think it was 2023, the price of coffee was around $150, essentially $1.50 per pound. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's now at 378. It
Hmm.
is being held in a big way by speculators, controlled by the markets, like in one of these. What was the movie with Dan Aykroyd and uh,
Trading
Mr.
places.
Murphy, Eddie Murphy? Yeah,
Trading
great
places.
movie.
Yeah. Great
Yeah,
movie.
like the orange juice contracts. It's controlled by the big players right now.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think, just saying, do you think the price of coffee will be down or do you think it will be up in June, the end of
Up.
June?
I think it'll be up and it'll remain up because prices. I know it's a commodity, but I mean prices don't tend to come down very
This
easily
is
once
what's
they go up.
interesting about this because the laws of economics sometimes don't work. And as
Mm-hmm.
stupid as that movie was, Trading Places, it essentially remains true because you're talking about manipulation in a lot of ways.
Right.
I think it's actually going to be down. I'm
Oh,
going to
okay.
say $310 just for the hell of it. I'm going to
Okay.
be completely wrong because it's manipulated out of the minds of big players,
I think
from
it's
the
going to
minds of
stay.
big players.
I think it's going to stay right where it is right now for the foreseeable future, but it
Well,
might
it's
not
like an
go up
elevator. It'll
anymore.
go up and down. There will be price swings, and let me put this: there will be almost daily price swings of $20 in this thing every
Yeah,
day.
but
You know?
coffee is very regionally based. It's called
Yeah,
Arabica
yeah.
or Arabica, whatever, because
Arabica,
Arabica, because
Arabica.
it's produced in certain parts of the world, but you can't
Yeah,
produce
there's
coffee everywhere,
robusta
and you can't
too. There are
produce it in America.
blends.
Yeah, so you've got Colombian coffee, you've got all these different. They're small regions.
Brazilian, Vietnamese. You have
Sure,
Kenyan,
so you've got all these.
Ethiopian.
So if it goes up in one area, does it come down that easily? I guess you're the expert with this stuff. All I know is my
Yeah,
coffee's expensive.
it's 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 a game of speculation. It's a little bit of manipulation. Of course, there's supply and demand. There's shipping cost. There's the price of the currencies. Commodities are tremendous. And one day we'll do a full show on commodities, maybe just on coffee. We'll have someone from Brazil come on and talk about coffee prices all day long. All right. Now, one of the big questions for you: Lakers and Timberwolves, NBA playoffs. Who is going to win this particular series?
Good
The
question.
Lakers have home court advantage.
That's right. They have home court advantage. I'm going to go with the Lakers because the last time that the Timberwolves, who are a very good team, last year they went all the way to the Western Conference Finals, as I
Yes,
recall.
they did.
And who brought them down? But Donka Lucic and Luka Doncic. Who brought them down? Who brought them down? But Luke,
you don't even appreciate him enough to pronounce his name correctly.
right. Who brought them down was Luka Doncic and the Dallas Mavericks. Luka Doncic
Right.
is now with the Lakers. It seems to have reinvigorated a newly rested LeBron James. I think they're clicking on all their cylinders.
This one bothers me because, as we know, I'm not a Laker fan.
Yeah.
I do like Doncic, and I've come to respect James. I like Anthony Edwards quite a bit, quite a
Mm,
bit.
me
And I
too.
like DiVincenzo. He shares a common nationality with me. Having said that, I think the Lakers are going to win. Oh, boy. All right. Now, the final question for you before we wrap things up here is about Netflix. Okay. The price of Netflix closed at $973 per share this week.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think the price will be at the end of June? I have heard, interestingly, that Netflix might be one of the few Teflon stocks out there because of the
Mm-hmm.
tariffs. It can't be hurt because of the tariffs, supposedly. And that's why, part of the reason why it's doing so well.
Yeah, again, we'll
Thoughts?
find out. We'll find out what happens if they start trying to tariff services because Netflix has grown internationally. It dwarfs what it was doing in the U.S. Unlike just a few years ago. Um, but that said, I think you're right. I think it'll continue to grow. Netflix is the one bright spot in Hollywood, and especially on the streaming services. Um, which have tended to not do that well in the last few years. Netflix, not only did they raise their prices and that didn't hurt them very much, but they gained another tens of millions of subscribers at the end of the year. So they're actually doing quite well, and I think that that's why you're seeing their stock relatively stable. I think it'll continue to grow. If you want me to predict a stock price, I'll say that it'll.
Yeah,
I said it'll break 1,000 this year. I think.
it's amazing. You know,
Yeah.
wasn't this the one stock that Jim Cramer, when it first started doing well, wasn't this one of the stocks that he just did not understand? And he, I believe, we'll have to research this and comment if you want, ladies and gentlemen. I believe he just basically kept saying, this stock is too high. I don't understand this stock. It's way overvalued. And he was wrong about this stock in a massive way for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think he eventually just stopped talking about it. But
Yeah.
he famously did not like this stock for a while.
Yeah.
And
He was
now it
betting on
is,
Blockbuster. I think.
was he?
Yeah, but a lot of people did that back in the day. They don't like these interlopers coming in and unproven.
So Netflix did trade above $1,000, and it did it in February, as a matter of
Oh,
fact.
then I'm already right. Well, I think it'll go back up, back up beyond a
It
thousand.
looks like it traded at almost $1,000 and $1,061 in the middle of February. I have reason to suspect it's going to keep doing well, and I'll
Yeah, I
say
think so.
$1,100
I
by
think
the
that's a
end of
good
June.
target. Yep,
Yeah.
I'll say same. Yeah.
All right, Mr. Summer, it's been a pleasure as always, ladies and gentlemen. As we thank you, we also ask you to like and subscribe to everything you've ever seen about the Risk Reward Show. Mr. Summer has to feed his dogs and pay for his people working around his house 24 hours a day. All right. Like and subscribe, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Risk Reward Show. Mr. Summer, any final words?
I'll only say goodbye, everybody, and good luck. The Risk Reward Show is a co-production of Angry Metatraders and Leitmotif Press. It is produced by Scott Summer and Robert Petrucci, and engineered by Scott Summer and Sagi Nizri. Music is by All Good Folks, a group of composers based in London that you should definitely check out. You'll find us wherever you get your podcasts, as we're everywhere, like the gods we are.